Starting off with the World Cup. In today's knockout games, Portugal absolutely obliterated Switzerland 6-1. Yeah, and after this match, now I guess we see why Switzerland doesn't get involved in wars. But the major World Cup news of today is how the North African nation of Morocco pulled an absolutely stunning upset off against football powerhouse Spain. And I know this won't make up for the fact that Spain once colonized a part of Morocco, but it goes a long way. It really does. Oh, in international news, the government of Indonesia has just officially banned all sex outside of marriage. Yes, with a penalty of up to 1 year in prison. That's gonna make for some weird conversation in Indonesian prisons, you know? They'll be like, I'm here for murder. What are you in for? A mediocre night with Jason. Oh, and in some major legal news, the Trump Organization has been found guilty of 17 counts of tax fraud and other financial crimes. And you know what that means? Donald Trump is going to prison to visit all the lower-ranking people who did this without his knowledge or his permission. Yeah, because we all know that's how that works in the world, right? All the successes in Trump's organization, they're due to the genius of Donald Trump. All the crimes, he had no idea. It's like, that's right, folks. I have zero control over the things I run, which is why you should vote for me to run the country so I can run it like one of my companies, which I don't even run. But speaking of crimes, let's move on to our main story. In the run-up to the midterms, one of the major issues for voters across the land was crime. In fact, anytime you turned on the news, you were bound to see stories like this.
Business owners across the country are stepping up security as they report brazen shoplifting. We've all seen the videos.
Shoplifting at supermarkets across the USA is out of control.
Handbag haul. The brazen bandit who cops say walked out with all these stolen handbags.
A shoplifting epidemic, highlighted by this viral video at a Walgreens last week.
Shoplifting is up 300% as video of brazen thieves leaving with their arms laden with stolen merchandise continue to shock all Americans.
Shoplifting has gotten so bad this year, Rite Aid is considering literally putting everything behind showcases.
Yeah, you hear that? Shoplifting has gotten so bad that they're locking everything behind showcases. Oh, and the person who unlocks the showcase, they're locked behind the showcase too. Yeah, now you're screwed. What are you gonna do? But yes, almost every day in the news, we've seen these horrible stories, you know, about people blatantly breaking the law and stealing what doesn't belong to them. And I don't care what anyone says, there is zero excuse for shoplifting. Zero excuse. Even in the instances where you find yourself waiting in line forever and there's 6 open registers, but the store only decided to hire 1 cashier, which makes you feel like they're taunting you, showing you how fast it could be, but they just don't want it to be, you know? So then you think, oh, you're just gonna go and use the self-checkout. But then there's an error because you didn't put the item in the bagging area or because you put it in too early or too late, and now you have to wait for the supervisor to come over and ask, oh, are you trying to buy this? No, I just enjoy holding shampoo. Yeah, that's what I'm doing here. Yes, I'm trying to buy this. Yes, I'm trying to buy it. And then, instead of just like helping you out, they give you that look like, and then they wave the magical little key fob. And then, even in that instance, it is not justified. Even when it's justified, it is not justified to steal. But what if I told you that the biggest theft isn't people stealing from companies? What if I told you the biggest theft is companies stealing from people? Well, you might ask, how or why? Well, let's find out in another installment of If You Don't Know, Now You Know. When you take a job, you're making a simple agreement with your employer, right? You do the work, they give you pay. That's the very foundation that jobs are built on. And yet all over the country, all over the world, in fact, employers aren't holding up their end of the deal.
Imagine working and never getting paid. It's a growing problem called wage theft.
Wage theft occurs when a worker is paid less than they're legally entitled to, such as when they're denied pay for working overtime, or work off the clock without getting paid, or are denied legal meal breaks.
67 letter carriers say their paychecks were changed to make it look like they worked less hours than they actually did.
Workers at Hardee's and Carl's Jr. have filed dozens of state and federal complaints, including allegations of wage theft, manipulated overtime, and unfair labor practices.
About 10,000 people are saying Chipotle forced them to work off the clock to boost the bottom line. Wage theft is the costliest crime in the country, robbing U.S. workers of $15 billion per year, more than car thefts, burglaries, and other larcenies combined.
Yeah, that's right. The costliest crime in the United States is actually being committed by corporations. So I guess instead of following black people around the store, security guards should be hovering over CEOs at their desk. Yeah, they should be looking over them and being like, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and put that person's salary back where it belongs. I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't see that I had that. Yeah, I bet you didn't. And I think we can all agree, nobody should be doing work that they're not getting paid for. Because, I mean, then that's not a job. Now you're volunteering at a fast food restaurant, and who would do that? Huh? Who's there like, oh, me, I'm not in it for the money, I'm in it for the love of childhood obesity. And by the way, wage theft isn't just when companies don't pay employees for the work that they've done. In some instances, employers find really shitty ways to actually make their employees pay them. For example, there was a restaurant owner who confiscated his employees' tips at the end of their shift and called it, I swear to God, a cleaning fee. Yeah, the NFL Oakland Raiders would dock their cheerleaders' pay for shit like wearing the wrong color nail polish. Yeah, but this example of creative wage theft might be my favorite of all.
This is Fantasy Gentlemen's Club in Grand Junction, and this is the 24-page class action lawsuit claiming
Fantasy Gentlemen's Club has been exploiting these workers for years.
Among other charges, dancers accused the club of cutting into their take-home pay with excessive fines.
$50 if dancers don't share tips with the DJ and security, $100 to change the schedule. There's even a fine for complaining to customers about their personal lives.
I'm sorry, what? This is the biggest bullshit of all. You can't fine strippers for complaining to customers about their personal lives, all right? First of all, how can you even tell that they're complaining and not just singing along to the Drake song that's playing? You don't know. You don't know. And second of all, if strippers couldn't complain about their lives, then how would they be able to convince customers into spending more than they plan to help save them from this life? So what you're saying is if we go to the champagne room, then you can move with me to Chicago? Is that it? And there's a lot of reasons businesses are able to get away with this. First of all, wage theft tends to target people with the least ability to fight back, like hourly workers and undocumented immigrants. Making matters worse, the government agencies who are supposed to be the watchdogs against wage theft are understaffed and underfunded. Oh, and when companies do get caught stealing, here's what happens to them.
McDonald's has agreed to pay $26 million to settle accusations of wage theft. It follows a long-running class action lawsuit at corporate-run locations in California.
The U.S. Labor Department says Walmart will pay $4.8 million in back wages and damages to more than 4,500 employees.
Amazon agreed to pay $8.2 million to settle a wage theft lawsuit. And Krispy Kreme was ordered to pay workers more than $1.1 million after investigators found widespread and systematic failure to pay workers what they were owed.
Huh, that's so strange. All of this theft occurred, but there was no mention of anyone going to jail. But then how will they learn their lesson? Oh, and before you say, but Trevor, you can't put a corporation in jail. Says who? Says who? They always say corporations are people, so why doesn't America treat them like American people? Huh? Why not? Every single time a company gets busted stealing their workers' wages, you know what they should do? They should say that the company headquarters should be taken to prison. Yeah, that's what they should do. Just take the actual headquarters, put it in prison. Yeah, you hear that, Amazon? Same-day delivery is going to be a lot harder when you have to smuggle that air fryer in your butthole. But just because it's all too easy for companies to steal from their workers, that doesn't mean workers are powerless. Wage theft has been one of the issues driving an increase in unionization. And California has just passed a law saying that for the first time anywhere in the country, wages and payment rules for all fast food workers will be set not by employers, but by a council of experts appointed by the state. Yes, a council of fast food experts. So finally, a government job that Trump is actually qualified for. But for some workers, waiting for the bureaucracy of the courts or the governments to intervene just takes too long. which is why one construction worker in England expressed his anger in a more physical way.
A row over £600 that will end up costing so much more to put right. This construction worker was so angry at allegedly not being paid that he took drastic action. Driving a mini excavator into the newly finished hotel that he'd helped build.
Okay. I know this seems bad, but is it? No, because the guy did the work, didn't get paid, and then he undid the work, right? Seems like a fair deal to me. And it reminds me of a very wise thing my grandfather used to tell me. He would say, remember, Trevor, if you want to screw someone over, make sure they don't own a bulldozer first. And yes, my grandfather was Nelson Mandela. He was indeed. So, the next time you turn the TV on and see all the news about people shoplifting from drugstores before assuming there is a crime, maybe just for a moment think that they could just be getting their wages back a totally different way. And if you don't know, now you know. Before we go to a break, it's time to check in on the weather forecast with our very own Desi Leidick, everybody! Desi, what's happening in the weather?
I don't know. My Wi-Fi's down, so my weather app doesn't work. You know, Trevor, it's interesting. You're going on and on about the epidemic of wage theft, meanwhile ignoring the wage theft going on right in front of you.
Whoa. No, Desi, what are you talking about? You're getting paid.
Well, sure, maybe for doing the weather.
Well, actually, you never actually do the weather.
But there is a ton of other stuff that I do that I'm not compensated for. Like, I spend hours of the workday selling my bathtub kombucha on Etsy, and I haven't seen a dime from this show.
But Desi, that's not wage theft. We're not paying you to do that.
Exactly. You're not paying me to do that. And it's how I spend most of my time in the office at work. But it's fine. Don't worry. You'll read all about it in the lawsuit.
Well, wait. Wait, you're suing me?
Oh, yeah. No, it's been a long time coming because I work very, very hard at this show. Do you know that I have never once been paid overtime for organizing the office supplies and putting them neatly in boxes and taking them home to my apartment?
Have you been stealing office supplies?
Well, not to mention all the hours that I spent taking the laser out of the laser printer.
Desi, that's not even how a laser printer works.
Well, I know that now, but I'm not getting that time back.
Okay, Desi, none of this is actually wage theft. You realize that?
I'm sorry. Who made you Judge Judy? Okay.
You know what? I didn't want to do this, but I didn't want to do this. I don't think you're going to win a wage theft lawsuit with us because I have a solid year of video evidence of you never actually doing the weather, which is your actual job.
Oh, okay. Is that how it's going to be? You want to play hardball, huh? Fine, I get it.
Look,
I get it.
Yeah, Desi, look, I'm sorry that you feel that way, all right? Sorry that you feel that way. I'm just saying. You know, if anything, it sounds like you're the person who's stealing from the place that pays your wages. You know, so I don't think taking this case to the court is the right idea. It's just like it's one of those things. Wait, Desi, what is it? Desi, what are you doing? Desi?
Yeah. That's right. You had your chance, Trevor. Now it's time for bulldozer justice. And by the way, I'm charging extra for this.
No, don't do it, Desi. No, Desi. No! All right, we're going to take a quick break while everyone evacuates the studio. Desi Leidick, everybody.